Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Kyle Allen Show. I'm here with my guest, Ryan. This dude is an absolute G when it comes to it. He's traveling around the world, flying Gulf streams, closing wholesale deals, and, he's halfway across the world closing down deals. And where are you mostly located? In Georgia, correct? Like, that's your predominant.
Yeah, so my primary market's Atlanta. I grew up there, and then I'm based in Phoenix in Arizona, where we both live. But then I'm in Cairo, Egypt for half the year because I fly on a private airplane out there. So it's kind of crazy. I'm never really in my market that I operate in at all, which is, I think, something different than most people, but it's totally doable in 2020 with everything we got in today's technology. So yeah, it's a little different, but it's really fun.
Yeah, I was just saying, I'm just like thinking about the time zone differences, and like right off the bat, like that would throw me off because you're like usually
Yeah.
like 8 hours ahead or something like that.
Yeah, so it's 9 hours ahead of Phoenix time, and then it's 6 hours ahead of Eastern time. So yeah, if we're talking to a seller or something and it's noon Eastern, then it'll be 6 p.m. Cairo time. Or it's worse when it's in the afternoon or evening time Atlanta time, because then I'm like going to bed, so that gets a little tricky. But it's we make it work.
Yeah, I was just saying you make it work.
Yeah.
So like how did that process go? Like, what got you like into real estate? I think that's like something that a lot of people want to know. Like, what sparked your interest in real estate?
Yeah, 100%. So I've always had an entrepreneurial passion. I've always wanted more than what's normal, financial freedom, have big goals, big dreams. When I was 11, 12 years old, I was looking at Ferraris on the internet, like, looking at jets, big houses, like vacations. I want to travel the world, and I just want to have a very fulfilling life and do everything and cross everything off my bucket list that I possibly can. So entrepreneurship was kind of the initial spark. And then I looked at different industries and different things that kind of interested me. And I've tried just about anything and everything from, social media marketing, Forex, stock trading, Shopify, Amazon, basically everything that is popping off today in the kind of younger internet entrepreneur space. But with real estate, I think it just stuck out to me because it's like, it's a physical asset that's never going away. And it's so scalable, and there's so many different things you can do within it. So like some of these other business models, like maybe Shopify drop shipping or Amazon, like if Amazon decides all of a sudden that it doesn't want third-party sellers on its site, everyone in FBA or Amazon automation, all of a sudden that just like totally closes off that marketplace. And there's people that do millions and millions of dollars doing that type of business, but 10 years, 20 years from now, I don't know if that's going to be the same, and those people will have to adapt. Real estate's going to be the same way. We're always going to have to adapt with different markets and different things and strategies. But I think that there's just so much you can do in real estate, and like from wholesaling a condo in the Midwest, and make $5,000 on a $50,000 deal, or you can buy, Disney World, residential, commercial. It's so scalable. And, there's a finite amount of land on this earth, and we all have to use it somehow. And there's only becoming more and more people. The population's growing, the amount of land staying the same. We need a place to live, a place to eat. So I think that's what's really cool about real estate, and what got me so intrigued as far as a long game and not just trying to play the short game with some of these different ventures.
No, 100%. From being in the agency space, like where I spend a lot of my time in, I know like it's very different than the real estate space. Like I started wholesaling a little bit, and I was like, holy shit, like this is like such a different business model, because it's like you're not selling to another business professional. You're not selling something that's like a monthly reoccurring thing, but you have a bigger bag that you're taking home, and it's all worth it because it's like chasing down the deal that's the fun part, like.
Yeah.
So like what got you into like, like obviously sales, like you started going into like getting your pilot's license. You went through schooling doing that. I remember when we first had a conversation about that.
Yeah.
So like what kind of got you then to like start getting introduced? Because like obviously being a pilot, like you're making pretty good money still from that. Like what made you want to go change and like go have like, was it that entrepreneur spirit? Was it more like, hey, like this is just not enough, like in order to reach my goals kind of deal?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both, like the entrepreneurial thing, because I love aviation. I love flying airplanes. And if there's anything entrepreneurial in aviation that I could do with somewhat little capital or like a business model that I knew to make some good money, I'd probably be in it. But yeah, I went to school for aviation. I got my pilot ratings, became a pilot, and I love what I do. I love traveling and flying, but I always wanted more than that. And I just, through the years I've been in aviation, I've just seen kind of the peak of where pilots are specifically. And a lot of them are just older guys. They've been through a couple divorces. They're capped out at about $300,000 to $350,000 a year on the high range, which is great money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just, I want more life freedom. And the main thing comes down to, I don't want to be gone for half the year or more. Like now it's okay because I'm young, I'm in my 20s, I'm enjoying it. But further on in life, I don't want to be older, especially with a family, or something like that. And
having kids, that changes the whole.
Yeah. If I've got a wife and kids, I don't want to be away from them half the year, missing Christmases, missing birthdays. And, I want to have something that provides more freedom, and then just fly and enjoy aviation more as a passion and a hobby. And then again, and like also, I just always want to have different things going on at the same time and different streams of income. And, if aviation as a pilot is all based on my health. So if I get sick or if I get my arm chopped off by a bulldozer or something crazy happens, my eye gets poked out, all of a sudden I lose my medical and then I'm not fit to fly. And there goes that ticket basically. 100%. So it's like, God forbid something happens. It's not always going to be there. It's dependent on me being healthy enough to show up and travel and fly. And keep current. So, if I have a rental portfolio, for example, I could have my leg chopped off, the tenants are still going to pay rent. Or, I could
don't even know. Yeah.
I could still be cold calling here, with one arm and, do some deals, if it came down to it. So
typing out the deals afterwards would be a little hard, but good news, we have a bunch of templates that we use all the time. So it's just,
so I mean, yeah. And I just like learning, man. I like learning new things and constantly just kind of putting my hand in different pots and testing waters and just growing. Like, I think you are huge on personal development. And I think that's kind of what it stems from as well. Just trying to be the best version of yourself and just grow every day.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're never going to reach perfection, but you can always better yourself. And like, that's the coolest thing is like, it's like, I'm just competing with myself to get better. Right. Like 100%. Obviously, like I see dudes like you guys are doing deals and it's like, shoot, I want to like, I'm just, competition's always been my thing, but it's like competing with yourself internally is the thing that's going to get you out in the real world, competing with other people first. You got to focus on yourself.
100%.
So that's super cool. So like, walk us through your first deal. How did that go? Was it virtual or was that one in person, your first one?
Yeah. So I really started marketing seriously in April of last year. So before that, like 2017, 2018, I would like get bored and motivated one night, throw out some bandit signs or do something, but I never really consistently marketed until April. And I started cold calling myself and then quickly brought on a VA cold caller that was using Mojo Dialer and just dialing lists for me while I was either in Egypt or here. And we actually started in the Phoenix market. And I was making offers on properties, and there was a condo in Chandler, and I was kind of emailing back and forth with the guy. I think I had one or two conversations with him on the phone, but I was kind of nervous to talk to him because he was an investor and this was like a rental property of his. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was like, if you want to sell it for this price, here's my offer. And then we kept going back and forth for like a couple weeks, and I was kind of scared to pull the trigger to get it under contract. And then finally we settled on a price, and I was like, okay, I'll send over the contract. I sent it over. He signed it with a hello sign. So electronic signature. I was in Egypt, and then I came back here, I think like within a week or something. It was like right when I was supposed to come back here. And I came back here and I ended up meeting him at the property to go walk it and take pictures, and still like nervous, super green. Like I was like, okay, like I'm here, like taking pictures. I'm like, don't ask about like my career or how long I've been doing this. Just don't say anything. Cause, but yeah, I took pictures of it, and then I don't even remember how I was trying to blast it out to buyers, but I had a friend who's a realtor, and I actually used him as like a JV partner. He knew some investors, and,
Perfect.
and
Yeah.
yeah, so I used a realtor friend as a JV. He had a buyer that was interested in it, and he walked the property with us, and he liked it. We got it assigned, and then split the assignment, and I made $4,002. I think it
Yep.
was $4,002.81 or something after it came down to it, because the only thing the buyer stipulated was he wanted us to pay the closing cost. So
Okay.
I think it was like a $10,000 or $11,000 assignment that we split minus closing costs.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
yes, that's how it worked out. But yeah, it's kind of funny because looking back at it, it was probably one of the easiest deals I ever did. But at the time, being my first deal, it was like the scariest thing in the world because I didn't know what I was doing. Like, the buyer asked for a copy of the HUD, and I didn't even know what a HUD was. So I was like, "What's that? You know, what's a HUD? What's a
Yeah.
settlement?" I had no idea. So I was like, "What?" I asked the realtor partner that was the JV. I was like, "Dude, what is this?"
Yeah.
So I mean, but I think it goes to show that you just got to do it. For anybody that's looking to do anything, I think I'm trying to prioritize, or like I'm trying to give myself the mentality a lot this year of action over analysis, and just be more active instead of over analyzing, because I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. Do your homework, do your research, but once you get to a certain point, you got the knowledge, and you just
Gotta
have to be
do it.
confident.
Yeah.
The knowledge, and then just take it and make some kind of action, and it'll work out. And just kind of run before you know how to walk. And that's kind of what I did with that deal. And then it worked out, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Let's try and do this again. And then we've been doing it for about a year now, a little over a year now, but just trying to scale it up and keep it going.
Yeah, like one of like the biggest things, like whenever you like take a course or whenever you like are learning from someone, is
Mm-hmm.
like learning it, doing it, learning it,
Yeah.
learning it, doing
Yeah.
it. So many people like they're like, oh, once I know everything, I'll go do it, and it's
Yeah.
you'll
It's
never
the
go
hardest
do that.
thing. Yeah.
Like I know like when I first got started in it, I was trying to like talk about like my whole pitch and like trying to do my pitch like in my head before I even called the seller, and I was like, I don't even know if this is gonna work. I was like, just
Yeah.
stop. I literally just started calling people and like just started tweaking it a little bit,
Mhm.
and then eventually you find something that you feel comfortable with, and it's like your own version, and
Yeah.
you're able to leverage that a ton, and
Yeah.
then go teach other people how to do it and all that good stuff.
Mhm.
So I think that's super, super cool. And like this guy started basically, he's not doing this to make money, but he basically started a course, right, to teach other people on how to do this, because so many people, right, get stuck in that phase. And like what I like about like your course is you broke it down so like simple, where it's like, this is what you need to do, go do it. And like
Mhm.
it's more like actionable items instead of just
Yeah.
like this long, 2 hour long video that some like guru put together that's like just
Yeah.
to confuse you and spin you into a
Yeah.
circle, you know?
Mhm.
So I think the content that you put out is like super spot on, like really, really helpful information. Even your YouTube channel, dude, is like just
Yeah. I appreciate that.
nuggets.
Yeah.
Like I dove in and I was like, shit, dude, like he has like some like really in detail videos about how they pull lists, what they do with the lists and stuff like that. So I think just like your mindset of giving, and also that kind of reflects with your first deal, that you're like, hey, I need someone who is the right person to go connect with to get this deal sold,
Mhm.
instead of like, oh, I'm just going to try to figure it out on myself. But it's like,
Mhm.
who do I need to get involved to like make sure that this deal is easy, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of things could happen. Like if you get a contract and you're a wholesaler and you don't know
Mhm.
what the heck you're doing, it's your first deal. Well, guess what? You could be out of luck because your contract date ran out or whatever. Like, and now you're
Yeah.
screwed on this property because you didn't actually find the right person to explain it all the way.
Mhm.
So super, super cool. So if you guys want to check out his course, definitely check out his course. I will put a link in the bio below so you guys can go check that out.
Yeah.
So what after you started doing that, like, did you reinvest all of that? I think you said like $4,000 roughly back into the business.
Mhm.
What did you do with that money that kind of helped to accelerate your growth? Because you're obviously doing more than one deal a month now.
Yeah.
So what did you kind of do to start fueling that business to get to the point where you are today?
Yeah. So I think, I more or less reinvested that money, and then I have the pilot income. So I put some of that into it as well. And I pretty much just did what I was doing. And it was kind of a weird process for me because originally we were doing Phoenix. I did the one deal, but then I knew that Phoenix was super competitive, and I was like, and I had a friend that I was kind of showing like my business, and he was like right there watching when I did my first deal, and he's like, oh, this is super cool, I want to do this. So he ended up finding a bunch of leads through Craigslist in Albuquerque.
Okay.
And he's like, I've got all these sellers ready to go in Albuquerque. And I was like, okay, sweet. And he's like, do you want to split the deals with me and do them together and like teach me how to do it? I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing that and kind of started a partnership for a little while. And we pursued these deals in Albuquerque. So I kind of just forgot about Phoenix and then shifted my marketing to Albuquerque because I was like, this is easy because Albuquerque is a whole nother market, and there's not a whole lot of investors out there.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty easy to get deals, but then there's not a whole lot of buyers. So, you know, it's easy to get contracts, but then it's kind of hard to sell them.
Leveraging some really cool disposition aspects to be able to sell those deals then.
Yeah. And then the title companies out there that I had experiences with were terrible. So that was kind of like, we'll get to that, but why I stopped doing Albuquerque. But we did like 4 deals in Albuquerque end of last year, which was cool. And then I saw that Albuquerque I don't know anything about Albuquerque. I've never been there. So it proves the concept that you can go into any market and do this virtually, which is really cool. But I was like, why am I in Albuquerque? And then the partnership kind of fizzled out, and I was just like, you know, and then the title companies were terrible. Most of them didn't like assignments or dealing with investors or wholesalers. They didn't like us at all. So anyway, that's what pushed me to Atlanta, because I was like, okay, Atlanta is, I know the city. I've, you know, grew up there. I've got people there, boots on the ground. And then it's kind of like a medium between the competitiveness of Phoenix, but then like the nothingness of Albuquerque.
Yeah, I was just saying, it's still a pretty like competitive market too, as well.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of people from Florida that started moving up there and stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah, to answer more of your question on like the business side scalability, yeah, I just kind of started reinvesting, had my cold caller do more hours, hired more VAs, and she referred her friends onto the company. And now we have 5 VAs. We had 6, now we have 5. So we got 5 VAs that do our marketing. And I think I'm going to hire one more in the next week and just keep that going, because it's a great system that I believe in, and it's, you know, really scalable. But yeah, just kind of doubling down and recreating the same thing, and then just utilizing systems to make it easier and go faster. You know, adding something like Podio as a CRM to organize everything, track your KPIs, you know where you're at with every lead. And then, yeah, just doing the same thing. And then I hired an acquisitions manager to actually lock up the contracts and negotiate the deals. So then I'm right now mostly just doing dispositions, transaction coordination, and kind of managing the marketing and stuff like that. So yeah, just kind of putting in more money, doubling down on what works, and then trying to delegate and hire out has been the main thing. And then that's still something that I'm kind of struggling with, trying to work towards continuing to scale, but it's worked well. And then, you know, now we're doing several deals a month instead of, you know, just doing one deal and not knowing how to do it. So yeah,
exactly. I was gonna say, huge come up. What I love that you talk about doubling down. So people, like, they try to diversify and try to like plant a bunch of seeds like everywhere, and then like make anything successful. And like, that's like one of like the biggest things that I see. Cause like I talk with a lot of newer investors, people who are getting started, to people who are, you know, closing a ton of deals. And like the biggest mistake I always see from like new people is like they continue to try to do like 10 different marketing streams. Like you figured out, you're like, cold calling works for me. Like that's what our business model is. Let's go hire more cold callers. Let's go buy more lists. Let's keep doing what we're already doing, because you're just creating a better system every time that you add another person in there, every time that you add a new list, right? It's a stronger system instead of like recreating the wheel to get it up and running. Like, obviously it took you a while to get cold calling up and running before it was successful too. So kind of walk us through that phase, because you know, I come from like a lot of like paid advertisements. That's kind of what we do. What does it look like on like with like the cold calling side what's kind of like your KPIs that you guys are like tracking of like calls per, day that these VAs are making? I know we had a couple of different conversations about that, about like the tools you guys use and just the way that you guys, you're super efficient machine. Like you guys are crazy the way, how many calls you guys are making and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, we started with the one cold caller, and I think that's a good point to touch on. Like you said, don't kind of run in a million directions, because I've done it before. And like, I've had people push like text marketing, RVM, different stuff on me. And I'm like, yeah, like I like it, but I'm just going to like stay in this lane and try and just kind of double down on that. So it's worked. But yeah, basically we have a bunch of data, from different sources. I could go into that, but, and we use ZenCall. So we started with Mojo Dialer. I like ZenCall better. I got that idea from the All In guys, Alex Saenz, Carlos Reyes. They were big, they like ZenCall. Started using that, and we have it set up to be a 5-line dialer. So they're dialing 5 numbers at once, and it's connecting to the first person that they get on with. And yeah, we just have a very basic, simple script. It's more or less just like, hey, Kyle, this is Ryan. How are you today? Oh, I'm doing well. Yeah, I was just calling about a property I think you own at 123 Main Street. Yeah, would you ever be interested in selling that property? So it's like, it's very simple.
Yeah, just too straightforward.
Yeah, very natural and kind of casual, because I think when I get calls from someone who's obviously a VA in the Philippines, like they'll just go on and on about stuff, and it's like so formal, and like you don't even know what they're talking about. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, it doesn't need to be like that. And I think if you use an assumptive approach of just like immediately addressing the name, like, hey, Kyle, and like you don't know that it's Kyle, but like it'll say the name of who you're supposed to be calling, and probably 99% chance that's the person. And if they go, oh, this isn't Kyle, this is Mary, Kyle's wife or something. Oh, okay, sorry about that, Mary. Yeah, but I mean, I just think if you keep it casual, simple, it works, as far as a script goes. So, I mean, it's really basic.
Yeah. And what does that lead kind of transfer over to like either your acquisition guy or yourself?
Yeah. So, and then basically what we classify as a lead is just somebody that's interested in selling.
Yeah.
So we've tried to kind of,
100%.
kind of break it down more detailed, but I find that if we ask the harder questions, it works out better than if they do, because sometimes they get confused and kind of tongue-tied over different things. They're good, but they're not as good, like understanding like the English, tonalities, slang, stuff like that. So I prefer them just to keep it simple. If they're interested in selling the property, great. They might ask a few questions. Do you have a ballpark price in mind? Or a question I like is, how long have you been thinking about selling the property? Because it's an assumptive approach question, kind of open-ended, that immediately gives you their timeline without asking, hey, so what's your timeline? Or are you going to sell this in the next 30 days? Which is also a decent question. But
it kind of comes off a little bit weird, like, hey, are you going to do this now? Like, are you going to?
Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, you're interested in selling. How long have you been thinking about selling it? And then either they're going to say, well, I haven't, or, oh, I've been thinking about it for this long. And if they tell you, oh, I've been thinking about selling it for a year, then it's like, boom, there's some motivation. Let's expand on that. So they'll ask a couple questions like that. They'll mark it as a lead, put it into Podio. So it'll have the name, the address, any information that they pull. If they get a price out of them or a ballpark price, it'll show that. And then, yeah, myself or my acquisitions manager will see it. We'll call them, have a more detailed conversation and follow up, and just kind of ask them, what the condition of the property is, the timeline, if the occupancy and the price are the 4 main things that we go over.
Yeah.
And then, if we can provide a solution for them, then we'll provide a solution for them, and in form of a cash offer or whatever it may be, and try and get the property locked up and get it under contract. So, and we do this all virtually. So all over the phone, which was something that I thought was kind of crazy at first, but it totally works, and like everyone's doing it. So, it works.
Yeah, like you see people like locking stuff on the phone and up, and like at first, like I came from a background where I was learning from guys who were like fixing and flipping the projects.
Yeah.
It was like my background of like real estate investing. And then like I started getting introduced to like wholesaling. I was like, dude, this is a completely different world. Like These dudes aren't even seeing the property. They're locking it up.
Yeah.
I kept on getting connected with the guys that were selling the properties to us that we were like, the company I was working with was fixing and flipping. So I would talk to them. I'm like, dude, how are you guys doing this? Like, yeah, we just call them on the phone and just lock it all up. We get some pictures sent. And that's
it sounds wild, but it works.
It does. Yeah. And like, you're like, why is this person? Because it's convenient, right? The person does not want to go see you. Like the person doesn't want to have those interactions. Like they just want to sell their property. They want to be done with it and move on. So like, what were some of like the things that like limiting beliefs that you had to like kind of get rid of in order to kind of start, being more successful, like on the phones? Cause I think that's like a huge transition shift for like a lot of people where they're like, I can only do like Phoenix, or I can only do like my city where they're at. Like, why do you think like that's like that? Cause like, I felt like the same thing. I was like, I can only do Arizona. Like when I was like, even doing like my digital advertising, even though that could be done anywhere in the world, I was like, I can do it here. And then I started branching out, started getting clients literally all over the place. Like, dude, this is like crazy, right? Like I had no idea people would actually buy on the phone. So like, what was that transition shift for you when it came to like, selling real estate?
A lot of it was just kind of like throwing traditional barriers or like blockage mentality out the window and just kind of just going at it. And then you really don't know, you don't have to know that much about a market. I mean, I wouldn't recommend somebody to just start going into a bunch of different markets and going crazy. Like double down on one market that's going to work. So that's kind of like one mistake I think I made is I started with Phoenix, hit Albuquerque, went to Atlanta, but now Atlanta's working. So I'm just kind of stuck on Atlanta. And then of course now like I have friends like you and people in Phoenix and I'm like, dang, I really want to do some deals in Phoenix. So I'm kind of like trying to market Phoenix again, just because I'm here and I know it. And
so damn expensive though.
Enjoyable, but we were making, it's crazy out here though. But so I'm kind of like, I might just stay on Atlanta. But yeah, I mean, to get rid of those barriers, I mean, you don't have to know much about the market. And even if you're new, you're not really going to know much about your own market anyway. Yeah. So it's like, you don't have to be a pro as long as you can talk to people and have a conversation and ask some questions. And I mean, that's really what it's all about. It's more of a sales game than a real estate game in the wholesaling world. And it's more about just creating personal connections and being able to talk with people. And, especially now with some of the services out there, like PropStream, like we love PropStream. I use it to comp everything. I pull lists from it. And, I think it's great. I could literally plug in a property in Chicago or Indiana or something in PropStream, and it's going to give you some great data about the neighborhood, about the comps, about the property. So if you have that, or even use Zillow or Redfin, I mean, there's just too many tools that like you can figure out the general price, or, you can call realtors in the area and ask them what they think of your deal. Hey, if I were to fix and renovate this, what do you think I could list it at? What would you recommend that we put into the property to make it competitive in this market or this neighborhood? What's your opinion? And then offer them the listing on it on the back end, either be the flipper or pose as the flipper. Even you could refer the guy that buys your deal to them. Stuff like that to learn the market's pretty easy. Or different Facebook groups, you can get a deal under contract, tell the seller that you got a due diligence period. And then throw it around on Facebook groups in that area, search Chicago or New York real estate investors.
Every single group that talks about investing or real estate. And,
like,
go ahead. I've even done like garage sales too as well. Like that's been like garage sales, yard sales, stuff like that. Cause you're, sometimes, the cash buyer doesn't always have to be an investor. Some dude who's looking to do maybe 2-3 flips and has, $100,000 sitting in the bank, and then is going to go do private money to do the rehab. Right? There's a lot of different like people that are out there. Obviously the most people that you're going to want to get connected with are investors, but you never know, like if it's like, you paid a little bit more for the deal than you should have, well, go try to find someone who might pay you more than what they should normally do, because maybe they're not like needing to get the same margins. Right. Yeah. Everyone has like a different buy box out there.
100%.
Yeah. I think like my biggest thing was like, I was afraid to like lock down deals. Cause I was like, dude, like, what if I'm not able to sell it? Like, Like that's like
Yeah.
always like the back end fear of like, what if I'm not able to
Yeah.
sell it? And like changing that belief can like
Yeah.
really.
And I think that's a huge thing to touch on for people new to the game is, um, I mean, that happens, we've terminated deals. Some deals fall apart, not because of our fault, but because there's some crazy title issue and they've got to file a lawsuit to quiet title. Otherwise they can't sell it, or, so there's some probate hold up, or they back out, so, we've seen it all. But I mean, you just got to get in the game and start going. But I mean, don't be afraid. There's still properties that we lock up over the phone and we say, okay, based on what you're telling us in this condition over the phone, we're going to agree to this price, and we agree to that price. And then we get somebody out to the property and get pictures, and we're like, yo, there's like, it's flooded. The foundation's destroyed. We can't do 120. We have to be at like 90. And a lot of times that works. Sometimes it doesn't work, but
But
there's
hey, if you don't
that
like,
ability
yeah,
there's that ability to come down. Worst case, you price drop them, or, if worst case, even you cancel the deal. But I mean, as long as, there's the ethical kind of fine line. You don't want to hold them up for 30 days or 45 days. And then like right at the closing table, be like, nah, we can't do it because you didn't find a buyer. But if you go out there and you act fast and you go through your due diligence, it's just like a regular real estate transaction. If you go buy a house to live in, there's going to be some kind of due diligence. You're going to get an inspection or an appraisal done on it. And then, if within a couple days or within a week, you get back to them with some information, um, you know, you're gonna learn. And I think, if you learn like a general buy box formula from anybody in your market, and you actually use that as where you're getting your prices for your offers, and then you use it, you're going to be okay. And most likely you're going to be able to find a buyer, as long as you're not locking stuff up for like retail or doing something like, oh,
crazy like that. Yeah.
because 150 estimate, like I'll give you 150, and then you lock it up for 150.
No one's going to buy that. Yeah. Even if
It's like, why,
you're going to get knocked down off of a traditional.
why did you do that? And then, on the other end, it's funny because a lot of people think they're like, who would sell their house for that cheap? Like, there's just no way. But I promise there's a way, because if you call 100 leads, which is kind of my number that I give people if they're starting out, is if you get 100 cold call leads that are marked as people interested in selling their home, and you call and negotiate with 100 people, you're going to get one.
100%.
Kind of I think preaching anything like 1 in 50 or something, that's a little bit of a stretch. But I think 1 in 100, if you don't get 1 in 100, then you can reevaluate and be like, okay, something's wrong. But there's going to be 1 in 100 person that agrees to sell their house on 50 cents on the dollar, and it'll work out. But yeah,
you just got to go through enough of them. And that's the thing, is like most investors don't have enough opportunities where they're like putting out enough offers, where they're talking to enough sellers, where they're talking to enough buyers. So it's like they can't actively learn. And like, if you're in that situation, go reach out to someone, go JV them, like with them, learn, but like be transparent with them. Be like, hey dude, like I still want to do this by myself, or maybe join your team later on, but like I want to learn the business and like do it with you. Like I know a lot of people that are open to doing that I've worked with, that, we partner up on so many different deals, because it's like, hey, let's go do this together. Like I have people, like we need people to talk to, right? I think that's one of like the biggest things that a lot of people are afraid to go ask that. And it's like, go sell yourself to another investor if you aren't having enough, time and energy into it. Like go help someone else out. I know a couple different businesses that are now doing like, like 30, 45 deals. And it was 2 wholesalers that just came together and freaking just smashed it, which I think is crazy. So I think there's a ton of opportunity when it comes out there, as far as like, people to partner up and do stuff together. So, if you were to start, Ryan, brand new inside of the real estate business, and, all of the things that you know today, but you're only going to tell yourself 3 different things that you could, tell, pass Ryan and be like, dude, just know these 3 things and you'll be okay, and you'll be successful moving forward when you got started.
3 things. I'm trying to think like actionable items more so than like, because you could go both ways. I could go like kind of more mindset stuff of 3 things, like 3 pieces of advice or actionable items. But I think like a 3-step action plan, really simple. would be look for houses on Craigslist. The second thing would be take those houses on Craigslist, call 100 of them and make offers on them at 70% minus repairs. And then the third thing would be, I guess, send over a contract. Well, that might be a little too basic. But, assuming that, to try and make it three things, the third thing would be just message a bunch of people in Facebook groups to find buyers, or realtors. Reach out to people in Facebook groups, investor buyers and realtors. So you kind of have a pool of people that you're networking with, and then you do the Craigslist thing and then give yourself a number or some kind of quota of like, okay, I'm going to make 100 offers. And I think that's like the easiest starting plan. And you can do that in any market virtually. Like you go on any Craigslist, like you go on Milwaukee Craigslist, Dallas Craigslist, and just find for sale by owners that look like they need some work, and just talk to the people. Because those are free leads, and like we've done deals on that getting started when we didn't have marketing money. And or Facebook Marketplace. So that would kind of be like a 3-step.
And also Zillow too. Zillow for sale by owners. There's a ton of them on there. We picked up a couple of deals with people where they've had their house for sale by owner, and it's like, hey, let's take it, because they've been on for Zillow for 150 days and no one's even like really gave them a good offer. Eventually, if your offer comes in, it might get accepted. So
and then
those are good 3 steps of like actionable items, dude. Cause like too many times, like people try to complex it, it's like, dude, just put in offers, show up every single day, send out contracts, like actually do the position right. And, like, you're going to get business that comes in.
I just said, don't overcomplicate it and be consistent. And I think consistency and action are the 2 main things. Like if you're consistent and you just never give up and you do the same shit every day and you just grind and have a simple plan, like it will work. If your plan is I have $0 and I'm in Egypt, I can't drive for dollars, I can't door knock. Okay, I'm just going to go on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and Zillow and call every for sale by owner in the United States. And I'm going to call 25 a day. I'm going to make 25 offers a day. That's going to take, maybe 3 hours or something. All right, I'm going to plan in 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's 15 hours a week. Pretty simple. It's like a part-time job, and 25 a day, you've made, that's like 4 days, 100 offers potentially.
100%.
So, I mean, you could do a deal a week right there if you really wanted to, just grinding out FSBOs, and it's free. So it's like, and then just be consistent with it. I think that's the hardest piece, even for myself now, is like, there'll be days where you're super motivated, and then there'll be days where you're not motivated at all and you just want to chill. But it's like the consistency is everything, especially with marketing, and just show up every day and get to the plate and swing. And even if you miss, like you still succeeded. So it's just like, just put in the swings, go get up to the plate, swing the bat, and you're going to be successful as long as you don't quit.
100%. So I got one more question for you, but before I talk with that, how can they get connected with you if they want to? Your social media is out there, because you're right now at the recording of this, you're almost at 10K. So get this guy to 10K. He deserves
I appreciate that. I'm almost there. I've got 99.85 or something on YouTube, but so it's Ryan Huber on YouTube. I've got almost 10K. So I appreciate everyone subscribed, or if you come over and subscribe, I appreciate it. There's some aviation stuff. It's kind of aviation business life. I'm doing some real estate videos now. Instagram is at Worldwide Hube. Worldwide HUBE is my Instagram. And then if you are interested in my course, it's digitalflippers.com with a Z, digitalflippers.com. And I'm not going to hard sell anybody on it. It's just kind of like a basic actionable system that I use. If you resonate with my stuff, great, check it out. But it's just to help people.
100%.
I'm not a guru. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not some crazy investor with billions of cash. I'm just a kid that flies jets and does this on the side. But it's like, if you want to make a little, like, my thing is with that is like, I want people to make an extra 10 or 20 grand this year, not like oh, you're going to do your first deal in 2 weeks. So it's like, my philosophy is, okay, you make $50,000 a year at your job. Let's take that 50 and make it 60. And if it takes you a year to make that extra 10 grand, that's still a big bonus. It's bigger than what your boss is going to give you. And then you could take that one deal that you did in a year, and then 5 years from now, be doing 10 to 50 deals a year. And then now you've got a career, now you've got momentum, and you can change your entire life from that. So just
100%.
simple,
Yeah.
small, slow growth, not get rich quick.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, the get rich quick things just don't work. Like, I've tried them,
yeah.
I've been through it, and it's like, you got to show up consistently. You got to do the things. And like, that's like why I resonate with your content and who you are, like, is because you're just authentic with it. You're like, dude, I'm not here to be a guru. Like, I'm here to
yeah.
And I think so many people like try to like force value, and you're just like, dude, this is what I'm doing. You're just documenting, which I think is the coolest part about your content.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So definitely check his stuff out. But my last question for you, man, like, if you lost everything inside of your business, right? Like, everything was gone. All the virtual assistants were gone.
Yeah.
Like, what would you do to get your first deal and you had no money at all? Like, you literally just had a phone and like, that's what you had to do to get started. Cause I think there's people out there that are in that situation.
100%, yeah.
But like, I think your 3-step actionable plan is good. What else would you do? Like, if you were starting from scratch?
Yeah. I would say the easiest thing to do is probably the Craigslist, Zillow, Facebook Marketplace. Just take sites like that and just call the for sale by owner listings that are distressed in any market, and just have a conversation and make an offer. Because I think that's the easiest thing to do, and you can do it from anywhere. There's a lot of people would recommend like driving for dollars or bandit signs, but technically you still kind of need some money for that. And I think it's more time consuming, because if you go drive for dollars, it's like, you're like creating a list of properties, but then you still have to get the information on those people and skip trace them. So it's not going to be a whole lot of money, but you might spend a couple $100. And if you're dead broke, you might not have a couple $100.
Or a car to drive around in,
Yeah, exactly. You might not have a car. You might not be able to drive for dollars. You might have to walk for dollars.
And the thing about like bandit signs, like, I used to put out bandit signs for people, like when I was like back in the day.
Yeah.
And, like, bandit signs, like, they get picked up by the city super fast anyways.
Yeah, I've done that too. Yeah, you get calls.
And also, like, you're waiting for stuff to come in. Like, you're proactive like with bandit signs. And that's
it's reactive, not proactive.
Yeah.
So I think those strategies, it's like you're doing something, but you're not really taking action where it needs to be. Like,
you're not putting offers, man. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's like you could go right now. We could go on this call and literally find somebody on Craigslist in 2 minutes with a distressed property somewhere in the United States that looks like it could be a deal, and call and be like, hey, what's the situation there? Oh, do you live there? Oh, okay, it's vacant. Great. Tell me a little bit about it. Has it been updated? Oh, it's in poor condition. It's been vacant, vandalized. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe we can help liquidate it for you. And then just, have the conversation. What is it going to take to make this deal work? We can close quickly, be a solution for you. It's just, I think that's the best route to take. Just start calling people and talking numbers and make offers. And like, if you're totally new, and just make an offer like half of what they're asking.
Yeah.
Just to be that person, and just to get people mad at you on purpose, almost just to desensitize yourself to that aspect of negotiating.
Oh, so yeah. That was a hard part where I was like hesitant when I would say like even 70%. And I was like, and it's like, there's like the latte factor. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, where I think it's I forgot who does it, but they basically go in and like every time you buy anything, you have to ask for a discount on everything.
Oh, really?
Starbucks, you have to ask for a discount.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Tim Ferriss who does.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And you have to go do that, and it's decentralizing yourself. Similar thing, right?
Yeah.
But if you can do it and make money at it instead of saving $2 off your damn Starbucks, like, do real estate, you'll make $20,000 on a deal instead.
Yeah. But you just never know, and it's like, God, we've had some like nail biter negotiations where a lot with like price drops, or we'll offer. I think we offered like a 90 on a property, and then we went back and we're like, shit, we got to offer like 40. Yeah. And we go back to her and we're like, ma'am, like, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but like, we need to be at 40,000. And then like, I think I'm going to get cussed out, like, you know, just
Yeah.
shoot
But
a
she
lot.
knows that her property's in that situation though
And
too.
she's like, man, okay, off, like, is there any way we could do 60? I'm like, how about we do 50 and call it a deal? Okay, that's fair enough. And you're just like $40,000 price drop. Like that's almost half of what you were at. And it's like, it happens. So you just never know. And,
Yeah,
you know,
because
it's a numbers game.
it's
You
a,
know?
it's a huge numbers game, man.
Yeah.
So I love your mentality for it, and I appreciate you for hopping on this show and
Yeah.
talking
Thank you so
about
much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
your strategy. I think your story is incredibly cool, and like I know a lot of people that can resonate with it because it's like you have a job that takes you literally across the country that you're still able to do this, and it just shows you like this business is able to be done by anyone, right? So like if you
Yeah.
have a 9 to 5 job, like and you
Mhm.
can't go bang it out on after from 5 to 9 or on the weekends
Yeah.
or whatever it is, it's like you got to stop making excuses for yourself and taking action and doing something that you
100%.
truly love. And
Yeah.
clearly you're passionate about this too, which I think is like the coolest part about it all is like you can see the passion when you talk about this stuff, the things that you're doing. So I definitely appreciate you for hopping on here and sharing your story about where you guys have gone and all that stuff, because I think that's huge. And I'm excited to see your guys' growth too as well.
Yeah.
So
Likewise.
big
I
things are going to
appreciate it.
happen with you guys in the
Yeah.
future. So
Big things are ahead for all of us. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be on your show. I'm excited to see where you're going. I love your content and just seeing you continue to soar. So yeah, man, I'm super excited for the next couple of years, and anybody watching, I hope this helps, and hopefully you can link with both of us or, you know, somebody, and, you know, we can all grow together. So I'm excited for everybody, man.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much for watching this show. Make sure to connect with Ryan. And if you guys haven't yet, connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you guys can find us on social media content. We're out there on everything. You know, looking forward to having you guys watch the next show. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Kyle. See ya.